What's happening, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to episode 2 today of the Hamburg career mode. Oh, the career mode as it's just called now on the channel. I want to say a massive thank you to every one of you who left a like on the last episode of yesterday. I asked for 100 likes and I said if you guys get it to that by midnight tonight, I will give you guys the second episode today. And you guys smashed it. You hit over 100 by about 10 o'clock. So yeah, I expected that you would get close to it. Didn't think you'd smash it the way you did. So here is the second episode anyway, guys. Today's episode features a new signing plus 4 more Bundesliga games with our Hamburg side as we look to try and build on the great start we've had to Bundesliga life. 2 wins from 2 in our opening episode of yesterday. And if you don't remember who signed for us, one Andy Carroll is our main man up top this season, yet to score in Hamburg colours. But we have only had 2 games, so we can't really worry about it just yet. But to show you as well, we've obviously got the transfer deadline to come right at the start of today's video, where we will be making the first signing. And the board, I didn't actually thoroughly look through them. But one of the objectives was to try and reduce player wages by 22k a week. Well, that's pretty much not going to happen now because of the signing of Andy Carroll. He's on a crazy wage here, and that's the reason why it will not be happening. But for the sake of the series, I thought Andy Carroll would be a funny man to have up top. And then I also realised why target men don't work in this year's FIFA. I'll go into more detail about that later on. But obviously, when I signed him yesterday, my talking through it was that I was going to sign him. I'd not used the target man before, so I wanted to try it out. And I'll explain why it doesn't work at a later stage of today's episode. But the first and only signing of this one then is going to be a new fullback. Joe Bryan is the man to come into the club. You'll see I went through the comments that were left on yesterday's episode at the time of recording this one. Obviously, if you've left a comment after that, guys, I apologise. But I went through the comments, looked at the guys that you guys wanted to see join us here at Hamburg, and there was quite a few comments. Unfortunately, the most liked one was for Callum Hudson-Odoi, and actually he'd only just joined Chelsea, so I was unavailable to be able to try and make him a Hamburg player. They wouldn't even let me begin negotiations with them, so that was a little bit annoying. So we made the first signing. Joe Bryan came into the club. He was also quite a liked comment of the last episode as well, and I felt we needed to bring him in. We only currently have one left back at the club, and that man is Santos. So with Bryan coming in, he's our second, I guess, English import of this series, but he's definitely one that is welcomed. And with the final £7 million, I looked at bringing in 2 other players suggested by you guys. The first one was Diego Carlos, and the second one was that man, Harry Mukhtar. But unfortunately, I didn't have the funds to bring in either of the 2 players on show. So that concluded deadline day. We made 1 signing to add to the 2 signings we'd already made in the actual window itself. Taking you through, though, the major deals around the world of football. Mesut Ozil joins PSG. Falcao's gone to Real Madrid. Rodrigo going to Palace. There's some interesting ones in there as well for some Bundesliga imports. We even got a player on the top list as well. Lucas Torreira, of course, signed in the last episode from Sampdoria. He was in there at £16 million. And in terms of our personal dealings and what we got up to, you can see it right there on the screen for you all to take a look at. So that is locked in. Our side, the way it is now, will be the same team that we're going to have for the remainder of this first season. At least until January anyways. But in terms of the scouts, I've sent 3 of them away. We've got Venezuela, we have Romania, and I'm not 100% sure where I sent the other one. So we'll take that back. It might have been China, Japan, Korea. I'm not entirely sure. But yeah, 3 scouts on the go looking for the next big thing in the world of football. And they'll hopefully bring through some talent. We've already got 1 player in there from Venezuela. He's a centre defensive midfielder, only 47, 48 rated at this stage. So not exactly what you consider to be first team rating. But going into the first of the 4 games then today, we take on Red Bull Leipzig, a team in which I really, really don't like to play against. They've got some young talent, but also some really difficult players, one of them being Timo Werner. They've also acquired Sofiane Boufal to their ranks, and it was him who set up the first chance as they struck one against the post early on into the game, and he caused me no end of problems. Again, cutting inside, this one was a much better pass, and it actually ended up going in the back of the net. So once again, we're going to have to come from a goal to 0 down if we want to try and get anything out of the game. But as I mentioned, Boufal was causing me no end of issues. It's just the way he was cutting inside. I could read where he was going to play it, but obviously with the slider settings as they are, I've lowered the pass error, of course, even further, lowered the first touch error even further. So the chances are now, when they see a pass like that on, it's pretty much going to work out, and it did, and it was a great finish. I've got to give them credit where it's due, and we finally decided that we were going to get a chance for ourselves. It took me until the full second half, until I could actually grow into the game. Bobby Wood sending his effort over the top of the bar. Not a great finish from the American, and at that point we were struggling to really get anything going in the game. But we plodded on trying to find an equaliser, and we plodded on a little bit too hard because I went on to attacking, allowed a bit too much time and space. Timo Werner gets in, and my keeper makes an unbelievable save to keep us in the game. That should have sent Leipzig 2-0 up, and they should be home and dry, and they had another chance to do so. Werner again, he really wants a goal, and it is a goal that he will not get, with another chance there, putting it wide of the post. And that ended off a disappointing first game, but it really showed, as I said to you guys, that this wouldn't be a simple, easy first season, you know. We are going to have games where we might be on the back foot for large parts, and you can see finishing-wise, we weren't up to scratch, having 8 shots and only getting 3 of those 8 on target and losing by a goal to nil. So, disappointing start to the episode. It's our first defeat of this series. And if that's anything to go by, things will get quite tough between now and January. But straight out of that one, I felt we had to get some redemption, and so we faced Hannover 96 in Game 2. And actually, coincidentally, Joe Bryan started that first game against Red Bull Leipzig. I put Santos back in the team for this one, and we actually played a little bit better. But again, first half pretty bad. Second half grew into the game. Bobby Wood again with a chance, but it was a good save this time. He actually got it on target at least. And I then thought Torreira had scored the goal of the first 2 episodes so far, stealing back the ball before rocketing one off the upright. But he was involved for the next chance, and I gotta say this, Torreira, what a signing he looks like he might have been. He picks out a fantastic through ball straight to Lewis Holtby, and he curls it in the bottom corner to give us the lead with a mere 7 minutes remaining. There's the pass through from Torreira, there's the finish from Holtby, and things are looking very good indeed for Hamburg, and it looks like we're on course to register another 3 points. So that will be 3 wins from our first 4 games in the Bundesliga if we can hold on to this, and hold on, we did. Finding the only goal of the game, Lewis Holtby the match winner, and it just so happens that this is a highlight. Like, I've looked at the way we played, and at the end of the episode, I will talk about this in more detail. But I think the first issue that we're going to come into with this side is the lack of goals from our forwards, and that brings me to my next point. Andy Carroll, I purchased him to be a target man. All right. Now, if there's any, by some miraculous thing, any EA devs that work on career mode, or even the game in general, are listening, please fix the player instructions. They don't work. I set Andy Carroll when I brought him into the team in the player instructions to stay central and be a target man, right? In game, he doesn't do that. He runs to the wings, he comes out of the box when I've got a chance to cross it. He literally is useless. And that led me to dropping him against Dortmund. I threw in Arp for this game, and we actually took the lead inside the first half. A quite lucky goal as well, as Bobby Wood went down the right-hand side, laid it across, and Kostic found the back of the net. But that's the problem, guys. Like, the player instructions just don't work. As I said, I set Andy Carroll to those presets, and he literally was doing the opposite of what I was trying to get him to do. So I dropped him, put in Arp, the young 17-year-old, who is still yet to score a competitive goal as well for us here at Hamburg. Of course, hasn't really had that much time to do so. But even in that case, you know, dropping Andy Carroll for a 17-year-old is not something I expected to do at this early stage. And given the fact that we were leading by a goal to nil against Dortmund here, they then put together this move, which was pretty good. And Papadopoulos had none of that, just bringing down Batshuayi. He knew full well what he was doing there, trying to stop their attack. In which case, picks up a yellow card for it. I felt like it was bad defending on our part, but he did what he had to do there, Papadopoulos, in order to actually bring him down. And so it was a professional foul, let's call it. But never did I expect that when Dortmund were lining up to take this free kick, of the outcome that would come next. Rafa Guerreiro was the man stood over the free kick. And as you can see, I even took every single precaution, moving the wall, putting a guy on the line. Didn't matter because, well, he just basically hit a world into the top corner. And it made it Hamburg 1, Borussia Dortmund 1. There's not really a lot you can do when he's hitting a free kick of that quality. It was sheer brilliance. It deserved to bring Dortmund back level. And as I said, you know, I just had to hold my hands up and say very well done to him. Sets it up with the left foot, smashes it top bins. Even with Sakai on the line, we couldn't defend it. We couldn't get it out. And Dortmund had equalised it just before the half-time break, which can always be a really, really bad time to concede a goal. Coincidentally as well, Borussia Dortmund actually have got Florenzi in their ranks, a really solid right back. And Bobby Wood should have made it 2-1, gets through after Arp, wins back the ball, and his finish was less than convincing as Berkey made a good save to deny us what would have been the second goal. It was after that we piled on the pressure on this Dortmund side. Arp finding a teammate, Muller on the right-hand side, again, should have scored, it's missed. a quite atrocious finish from the wide area. And I've got to admit as well, I'm not 100% confident with Muller on that right-hand side. Maybe need to look at potentially a replacement. Art then thought maybe he'd got his first competitive goal after he got through, found a low-driven shot, but it came back off the upright. So at that point, I was like, it's change time. We need to try and find something because we are piling on the pressure, being the better side in this one at the Volkspark Stadion, looking to try and find the winner. So 3 changes or 2 changes. Halilovic on, I do believe, and also Andy Carroll as well. But as soon as I did that, we would find the winner, or what was possibly going to be the winner, as we found a way through, and there was Muller this time. No mistake with the finish. Firing it into the right-hand side, or left-hand side of the goal, I should say, and it actually was into the back of the net. We found the winner. And honestly, I was buzzing because the second half performance, the way we played, the pressure we put on Dortmund, the whole premise of the way we played as well, I felt like we deserved to win. You know, I didn't feel that a draw would be a fair result here, even though the free kick from Guerrero was unbelievable quality. I just felt like we deserved this game more than they did. They only really had that one chance. And luckily, that goal was the end of the game. A 2-1 win. And we managed to get another 3 points. So that is now 6 points out of a possible 9. 2 wins and the single defeat from this episode. Not too bad if I do say so myself. And it's weird because, like, going into this season, my main aim is to just try and avoid relegation and get the best position we can. But if you actually look at the way we've started and look at the positions of a few of the other teams who are potentially supposed to be title challengers, Bayern haven't started off good. They lost their first 2 games of the season. Dortmund, we've beaten them already. Leipzig, although we lost to them, we gave them a decent run for their money in terms of how we played. So if we can get a good result here against Leverkusen, I don't see a reason why we won't be pushing for at least, you know, the top 8, top 6 position. But again, they've got a good side, and it's going to be quite tough. Leon Bailey, of course, is a really good player over there. We're sticking with a 4-4-2, though, for now, and it was actually Leon Bailey who started the game off the brightest, finding a lovely cross towards the back post, and Bellarabi's volley was saved by our goalkeeper. Not the most convincing save in the world. The shot was straight at him, but it still required his attention. And then we finally got our first chance. A really good move. Andy Carroll still in search of his first goal for the club as well. Bernd Leno with a brilliant one-handed save denies him that opportunity. And then from the corner, Holtby, good stuff, whips it in towards the middle. And Leno again came to claim it after we had 2 players attacking it. But again, with Carroll in the side, you know, it's kind of that frustrating thing that I can't seem to get the target man in and around the box where I need him to be. And we were pressing and pressing and pressing, trying to find a goal. But ultimately, the 4th game of today's episode would end 0-0 in a very boring game by all accounts. The major chance falling to Andy Carroll, and it was unfortunately saved by Leno. But that is it for the games for today's episode, guys. If you did enjoy the games, I'd like it greatly appreciated. Now, on to the point that I wanted to mention, which was about my strikers. We're having a bit of a lack of goals at the moment. We've played 6 games and only scored 6 goals in the Bundesliga. It's a goal a game on average. And if you actually look at the way the goals have been scored, I think Bobby Wood currently is the only striker to have scored a Bundesliga goal. And I'm pretty sure that came from the spot. So, in terms of our striking prowess, not exactly what you consider brilliant. So, Wood in 3rd place after the first 6 games. It's a great position for us to be in, scoring 6, conceding 3. I'm not expecting to stay there for much longer because Bayern are making a resurgence. You can see them in 9th, Dortmund just behind them in 5th, Leverkusen in 2nd. It's actually at the moment Werder Bremen who find themselves top after the first 6 games, unbeaten in their first 6. And coincidentally, that's the side that we will start next episode off against, facing. So we'll have a tough game there, but I think the right result will seriously put us in with a good standing. Couple more additions to our youth academy. You can see the guys on your screen and who has joined us. But I want to say just before we end today's episode off, guys, thank you so much for all of your support. I'm not going to set a like target on this one because I am away this weekend at a wedding. So I'm not sure how the videos will be affected for that one. And so I'm not entirely sure if I can actually, you know, get another episode out, even if I give you guys a like target. But for now, though, that's it from me for today. I will see you all again very, very soon for another episode. Adios.